Alright, so I've heard a lot of you talk about how much you love food, and to be completely honest, I fucking hate it. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. That I often have this conversational exchange that starts off with someone saying, "Oh, this is bad. I could never be around this stuff all day. If I worked here, I'd weigh 500 pounds. And so I smile and make the appropriate amused noises, and I gag. I swallow the vomit rising in my throat and tell that I'll tend to it later. My name's Gwyn. I'm 37 years old, and I've been bulimic with body dysmorphia since I was 12. I'm also a pastry chef. According to my reviews, a very good one. And it's really fucking inconvenient. I've always been a little weird about food, I think. I couldn't tell you when I started hiding food, but it's just what I've always done. My mother called me her little predator because I would snatch tiny bits of raw meat off the stove and run away with them. I don't think I've ever really liked food or liked eating. I regard it with suspicion and dread. I think that food might be trying to hurt me. Why does it want to be inside my body? And then puberty hit me like a bus, and that's when things got really bad. I had studied ballet for years, and out of nowhere, boobs. And I laughed when my mom couldn't zip me into this dress because I'd gotten so busty so suddenly. And later that night, when everyone was sleeping, I tried to cut my boobs off with my dad's fish filleting knife. Obviously, it hurt really bad, so I stopped. And that was when I started purging. I knew that there was something growing inside me, and it had to go. I wanted it gone. And it got worse. High school brought more curves. My brother jokingly calls the body that the women in my family have the Irish washerwoman figure. It's strong, it's sturdy, it's curvy. I will never be thin. And that's when boys started commenting. I agree in retrospect that Twin Peaks is a pretty funny thing to call a girl with a huge rack, but it just made me throw up even more. I burst blood vessels in my face. My hair started falling out. My fingernails began to peel off, but I kept going. My body felt dirty and wrong. I didn't want it. I never asked for it. Other adults were concerned, clucking over me, offering me food. I lashed out, sometimes violently. One time I set a box of donuts on fire, which, honestly, looking back, is pretty hilarious. My own mother honestly just wrote it off as normal teenage behavior. Looking back, I think that my mom also has an eating disorder because she has told me that once she lived for 2 years on nothing but mushrooms and Diet Coke. So maybe my mom didn't have the healthiest perspective on what I was doing or how I felt about my body. I'm really not sure who was worse informed or failed me harder in those years. And in my 20s, I fell into stripping and sex work. And for a while, actually, things got better. If my curves paid the rent, how bad could they be? Binging and purging was reserved for bad days at work, or this nameless sense of guilt that just got worse every year. Mental illness tends to strike hardest in early adulthood. In my late 20s came the astrological transit known as my Saturn return. That is when everything you've done in life, good or bad, everything you've skated by on, everything you've committed to, comes back and smacks you in the face. And my Saturn return brought me the kindest, most loving man I had ever known. He saw my damage, and he loved me not just in spite of it, but for it. He knew what a mess I was, and he just leaned in. He calmed me. He softened my rough edges. My dog liked him. And he was a fucking pastry chef. He made me a raspberry Grand Marnier creme brulee after our first date. He mailed me handmade chocolate truffles. And I tried so hard to keep all of it down. Because for once, there was something I wanted to keep inside me. When eventually he caught me hiding food, I told him everything. My perpetually gentle boyfriend became intense for once. He grabbed both my hands and said, "Gwyn, this stops now. I love you, and I love your body, and I cannot stand by while you hurt yourself. Stop." Okay, yeah, right. Anyway, time went on, and I married him. And I knew he was worth more than working in a restaurant. He was more talented than that. I helped him open his own business. I kept myself to clerical work, and it was mostly okay. The door to my office was a physical barrier between the food and me. I'd deal with clients, consult on wedding cake orders, but sometimes someone would strike a chord. A woman wanted something complex. I can't really remember, but I think it was a sculpted cake in the shape of a grand piano with the top open. And as I tried to talk logistics and design to her, she kept looking around the store. A good dessert should, as you learn in culinary school, give you a mental callback to childhood. The presence of dessert often reduces us to children ourselves. And as I tried to talk to her, she just glanced around and went, "Yummy, yummy, yummy." I asked her, "Do you know what sort of cake you'd like? It's going to need to be something fairly dense. Red velvet's a popular option for sculpted cakes. I want whatever's the yummiest." When the conversation was over, I went in the bathroom and vomited. Time went on. We were understaffed. My bakers were spread too thin. I was frustrated. One day I went, "Fuck it," and opened the recipe book. I was talented. I developed a knack for complex, precise work. I could reliably produce macarons at an impressive pace. I could run a chocolate panner for hours until everything that came out was flawless. And with gloves on, I could avoid ever touching food. Pastry kitchens are best kept cold, so I never had to smell much of anything. To keep the health department happy, I sterilized all my surfaces. If something needed to be tasted, I could hand the spoon off to someone else. I've built a reputation. People have driven from other states to buy things made by me. Some of my macaron flavors have waiting lists. The ecstatic, visceral reactions to my work make me physically ill. I can't stand seeing people eating the things I make. The impassioned moaning over my baking at a baby shower I was forced to attend gave me a panic attack. I didn't eat for 2 days afterwards. I often take hour-long showers at the end of the day, burning hot. I wash my chef clothes on the sanitized cycle, sometimes twice. I want every trace of food off of me. You stay in your corner, food, and I'll stay in mine. I haven't thrown up in a while, and I'm doing okay. But it's kind of like being an alcoholic. You never don't have an eating disorder, it's just in remission for now. So for now, I'm okay, but it'll always be there. It's just quiet for now. Thanks.